Hi, my name is Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation, and I hope you're a subscriber. If not, you should subscribe for your sake, because we teach about marriage the right way. I used to be a divorce mediator. So this topic, way over 20 years ago, but I approach marriage in a way that it's supposed to be approached. Marriage is a very spiritual entity that you and your soulmate husband have chose to do together, but as individuals. And a perfect marriage is attainable. And a perfect marriage means that it's filled with love, harmony, and joy. So this topic takes you away from joy. It is, why does my husband take everything out on me? Now, you have free will. And so using that free will, I'm not going to explain why your husband does it. Who knows why he does it? He might have had a bad day. And that part, like what's triggering him, I can't tell you. But I can tell you that although he should not be doing that with you, the reasons why are important for you to understand. The number one reason is that both of you have an agreement that it is okay to complain to each other. Don't you do that? To argue with each other. Don't you do that? And to be critical of each other. Isn't this true? And don't go, well, I'm not critical very often or something like that. You are critical of him. You know, when I was a divorce mediator, I saw it all the time. But then when I shifted, I saw it all the time. That what happens is that people who are in love, and you fell in love with your husband, people who are in love tend to become overfamiliar. You start feeling comfortable enough to say what's on your mind. That's how people like to say. They go, oh, well, I'm just speaking the truth. It's what's on my mind. When challenged about this, no one ever says, well, I'm not critical. Instead, they support their being critical with the argument, it's what's on my mind. I have a right to express myself, and like that. Sure, you do, and it's destroying your marriage. It is not just a little thing. If your husband is already, quote unquote, taking out on you everything, what you're really saying is that he's not communicating in a loving way. And I'm not blaming him. And I'm not blaming you. The dynamic of your marriage has gone to hell. Now, a lot of people just watch these videos, which is why I recommended subscribing, and they start learning to not be critical, not condemn, not argue. And others get the message and they get one of my books. Still others get one of the courses. In your case, it would be the course for women, so you could really learn about marriage. You know, we don't learn about marriage, and it's very sad. We learn how to drive a car. You can't get a license to drive a car unless you've gone to driver school, unless you've practiced behind the wheel. And then you're still practicing even after you get your license. Pass the tests, you're still practicing. And all around you, there are examples of good drivers and crapo drivers. So you know all about driving. What do you know about marriage? Look it up. See, it's so thin. The explanations for marriage are so thin. But when I started to do this, it was, at the request of a couple who came to me for a divorce, and they really didn't want to get a divorce. So I started looking at marriage, and I saw, okay, well, what is the reason we get married? Happiness? Did that jump into your mind? No, you thought, well, I fell in love. No, but the reason why you want to get married, happiness and joy and love. It's spiritual. Love is spiritual. You can't measure it with material tools, so it's spiritual. But we don't address it because everyone's afraid, oh, he's talking about God again. Well, I love God. God loves me. He loves you too. But that's not what this is all about. God can love you all you can receive, and you can love God all you can receive. But if you get into a car and don't know how to drive it, you're still going to wrap it around a tree. And it's the same with marriage. You got to learn how to be married. So he's taking things out on you because you two are not happy. And this is his way of letting you know, I'm not happy. And can you do something about it? You can't change him. We know, most of us do anyway, that you can't convince someone to change, you can't bribe them to change, you can't threaten them to change, you can't lead by example to get them to change. Change is something that we do individually when we as an individual are ready. The thing is this, if you as an individual are ready to make the changes that you need, and by the way, in our course we've got a technique which will help you make changes that stick. The book addresses all this, but it's very hard to change ourselves. And so this is one of the two things that we do. We teach people how to master their mind, essential for happiness, whether you're married or not. And we teach people the rules of the road of marriage, what marriage is all about, and how to behave in your marriage. Okay? So you want this to stop. You don't want him to take everything out on you. You make the changes and he won't. And please don't come back and say, oh, it's up to me. Yeah, it's up to you at the moment because you're the one coming to us and because you have the power to do so. So you choose. Do you want to live in joy and love? Or do you want to keep going and blame him because he's an idiot and takes everything out on you? It's up to you. We're here to help those who take the wise path and recognize that individually you can change your marriage completely. Now, I used to do this in an office because I already had an office when I had my practice for doing divorce mediation, and then I expanded into, well, I didn't expand actually. I stopped doing divorce mediation altogether because I realized all those people I had helped get a divorce shouldn't have had one. You shouldn't have one. You shouldn't be on the road towards it. And you know, in life, there's no such thing as just sort of the way it is. We're either moving forward or backwards. It's the dynamic of life. It's the way it goes. And what's happening if your marriage is starting to be negative, it's going to pick up momentum and eventually you'll get a divorce. And I don't mind saying that, or you'll be miserable for the rest of your life in a marriage that is not producing happiness. And that doesn't have to exist. You can make the change. Now, in those days I used to meet with individuals. I met with couples too, but mostly individuals because it's always an individual who at that moment is ready to do something. And that's why now I'm starting to train people with an online course. I don't have it ready yet, but it will be ready soon. And so I'm inviting you, if you're already a therapist, if you're clergy, if you're a lay person and you work with marriages, if you're a coach, whatever you do, if you're already interacting with people, we can help you work with. We only do marriage, by the way, at the Marriage Foundation. We don't do depression and this and that. We don't go there. We're for people. We're very specialized. Our marriage counselors are strictly for marriage. So if you'd like to be a TMF marriage counselor, please let us know. And we'll sign you up and we'll get going. Yes, of course, there's a cost. But it's not too expensive. And if you're of the mind, and we've already gotten a lot of people who say, let us know as soon as it's ready. And it's going to be huge. We're going to have tons and tons and tons of people out there who are really helping people, not just sitting there going, look, and if you're a therapist, don't get me wrong, I'm not condemning you. On the contrary, if you're already a therapist, it means you've had the mindset to help others. And so you have my highest regard. But you were mistrained. And so now you could get trained to really do some good. And I hope you take advantage of this. God bless you. Thank you so much for visiting. Again, subscribe. Again, like this video. Again, be well. God bless you and take care.